In today's video, I want to talk to you about how you can have faith and trust God in your waiting season. And you can apply these gems that I'm going to give you in any area of your life. But in this video, I'm going to be specifically addressing the area of waiting for marriage because I know the waiting season can feel so hard at times. And sometimes you're stuck wondering if marriage is even in the cards for you. But I have been where you are, and I'm going to share with you the same faith building steps that helped me to stop stressing and trust God's timing. And guess what happened when I did that? God really came through for me with his promise to me. And by the end of this video, you'll have everything you need to stay patient, grow your faith, and prepare yourself for the man God has for you. So let's get to it. So, first off, like I previously stated, I know how hard it can be to maintain faith and patience in the waiting season. And you have people that are around you that are asking you if you're dating or if you plan to get married and have kids. And then you have your family and your friends who are already dating or they're getting married and they're having kids. And then you have your own inner voice that will have you saying over and over to yourself, when is it going to be my time? Or when you do happen to meet someone and you start dating, you then start driving yourself crazy, wondering if he is the one. And I know all of this because that was me. So I want to talk about that today. And one of the first things I want to talk about is why waiting is important. And I believe waiting is important because the covenant of marriage is important. And it's not to be taken lightly entering into a covenant before God with another person. And waiting is not just important for marriage, but for every area of our life. There are many stories in the Bible where people waited for things a significant amount of time for their blessing from God. And one of those stories was the story of Abraham and Sarah. Sarah at the age of 65 and Abraham at the age of 75 were both promised a child from God, and they waited 25 years to see that promise come to pass. Waiting is also important because it refines us by teaching us patience and growing our trust in God. And I can truly say that now being in my 40s, I am much more patient and trusting in God in my life right now, having had to wait until I was 32 to meet my husband. And I feel bad because I feel like I wasted a good bit of my 20s waiting for God to send me a good God fearing man. And because of that, I missed out on what could have been such a really prosperous, productive, and fruitful time in my life. But thankfully, by age 30, I started to really get my act together, and God started being able to really use me and prepare me for marriage once I did that. So, my advice to you is don't waste your waiting season. There are many things regarding our character, our faith, and our perspectives on life that God needs to refine in us before we are really ready for the one. So, you may ask, how do you maintain faith while you wait? Well, first off, let's define what faith actually is. And the Bible tells us in Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1, that faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. And what that means is just like we trust and believe in a God that we have yet to see in the physical, we can also have that same trust in the things that we're hoping and praying for. So, to help you maintain this faith or trust in the things that you are hoping and praying for, such as marriage, one of the first things that you can do is to stay rooted in prayer. And I would encourage you to just not only keep asking God for a spouse or a husband in prayer, but to also ask Him to strengthen your faith. Ask Him to give you patience and peace and to help you be content in Him and only Him until He brings that one into your life. If you don't know my testimony of waiting on God to bring me the one, you can watch it here. But in this testimony, I mentioned how I met my husband the same day after I ended a situationship. And I said a prayer to God telling him that I finally released all of my anxious thoughts, anticipation of him bringing me my husband. And I asked him to fill my heart with peace and that I trusted that he would bring my husband at the perfect time for me. And probably for the first time, I really did mean it when I said this prayer. So definitely stay rooted in prayer. And when you pray, have faith that God hears you and will help you because that will hinder your prayers if you don't really believe in what you're asking for. And another thing you can do to help you keep the faith while waiting is to study God's promises. And one way that you can do that is by studying scriptures that will remind you of God's faithfulness and timing. Scriptures such as Isaiah 40 and 31 that say, "But those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint." And another one of my favorite scriptures is Jeremiah 29 and 11 that says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." That's one of my absolute favorites that I probably use weekly. But there are so many more. And if you need help finding some scriptures, you can simply just Google scriptures on God's faithfulness and you'll get a whole lot more. But I want to also talk about practical ways to develop patience. So I know some of the things that I just mentioned to help you with maintaining your faith can be pretty common things that we should be doing every day as women of faith, but I definitely had to make sure that I gave you those first because those practices sometimes alone can and will help you get through anything, not just a waiting season. And I also know that if you find yourself waiting for what may seem like eternity, there are some practical things that you can do that can and will help you wait. And one of those first things that you can do is to be mindful of what you are consuming. Things such as shows you're watching or movies you're watching, and most definitely the music that you may be listening to, and social media accounts that you engage with. All these are things that can be triggers for you. Some movies, especially romantic movies, can sometimes be reminders of the things that you want and just remind you that you don't have those things yet. And definitely music, especially music, can and will have you all up in your feelings. So you have to be careful with the music that you listen to. I stopped listening to a lot of secular music a long time ago, but when I was single, I would still listen to a lot of secular music, especially old school R&B and B and Chris Brown because I loved Chris Brown at the time, but I quickly had to stop because that music was taking my mind to places and thinking about things that I definitely should not have been thinking about. So try to stay away and avoid anything, not just music, movies and shows, but anything that will compromise your faith and your patience during your wait. And another thing you can do is to consistently practice gratitude. I know you hear gratitude a lot, but you can do this by journaling things that you are grateful for, reciting affirmations that focus on gratefulness, or just simply when you wake up in the morning, just tell God the things that you are grateful for. And this really will help you because when you focus on what you are truly blessed to have, your mind will think less on the things that you don't have or the things that you have yet to receive. So keep your mind on your blessings that you currently have. Another option you could do is to find ways to get involved with other like minded people. And you can do that by volunteering, joining a ministry at your church, participating in local community activities where you live, and just like practicing gratitude, this is also something that will shift your mindset and help you take the focus off of yourself and the things you don't have and put them on other people and helping them meet their needs. And one of my most favorite things to do while I was single, and something that I recommend to every single woman in this season, is to find your purpose and then start walking in it. This is the best time to work on your personal growth and development and also grow in a sustainable career, make and save money, heal from trauma, travel the world, and most definitely grow spiritually. And while you're at it, always remember that anything worth having takes time. You do not want to rush this season of your life or try to take any shortcuts to receive your blessings from God because a blessing before its time can end up being a curse. And what I mean by that is receiving something good too early in life before you are fully prepared to handle it can lead to negative consequences. I'll give you an example. The man you may be dating or just met may indeed be your future husband, but you don't want to rush the process because, as I mentioned previously, there is a lot of maturing and important teachings that God will use in your waiting season that you will need for your future marriage. And trust me when I say, being a married woman, marriage carries its own unique set of challenges that you will have to navigate. So You don't want to bring any extra challenges into your marriage that you could have resolved in your waiting season or even in your dating season. So, I hope this video was helpful for you, and I pray that it definitely helps you wait in God and not on God in your season of waiting because it is a difference. And this really can be a beautiful time of your life if you let it. So, please comment down below what you have done in your waiting season or something that you are currently doing in your waiting season that has helped you wait. I'd love to hear it, and I'm sure others who are waiting just like you would like to as well. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe because you don't want to miss out on being a beautiful part of this community of women that are waiting in God. And I don't want you to miss out on any more content that I have coming your way that can help you. So I thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Stay blessed.